What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons.
Between the Cons!
That is Kris. My name is also Kris, but that is Kris Too.
Who is very excited about Christmas.
About Christmas. This is the perfect episode for us. It is. The Kris and Kris Too Christmas episode. Except this isn't the Christmas episode. This is just the holiday gift guide brought to you by Between the Cons. So,
because we're not putting out an episode on Christmas, so.
Or are we?
Surprise! Gasp! I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule, so I don't know.
Technically, we're not, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't update your feed.
Just in case.
Anyway, before we get to the holiday gift guide, check us out on the internet. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. All of those things you can find us at Between the Cons. And then, if you're listening to this on a podcast service, which of course you are, leave a review. Leave a review. 5-star, 1-star, however many star. Write some things. You write whatever you want for the most part, and we'll read it on the show.
We'll talk about it.
I will read what you write on this show as long as it's PG.
There you go.
Like early 90s PG.
We got to keep that family rating.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about gifts. BTC Holiday Gift Guide coming at you. So the first one.
Yeah.
The first one that brings us all together today. Comic books, trade paperbacks, graphic novels, etc. What do you get for your nerdy loved one or yourself if you're listening and you just want to hashtag treat yourself?
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff out there.
There's a lot.
Understandably, it's hard to decide.
And we're only giving you one. We're only giving you one thing each for each category. So Kris Too, what is the must-have title for your nerdy loved one or your nerdy self?
There's a lot of them out there, and there are a lot that I really would love to say, but the one that I'm reading I'm reading it right now because it's still currently coming out, and I say you've got to go out and buy it, either buy it for a loved one or ask them to get it for you so you can catch up, is Saga.
Yes.
By Brian K. Vaughan.
Agreed.
Guys, this is an amazing series. It's I very nearly put Sandman by Neil Gaiman on here because I've bought the first volume of Sandman.
You should own that.
You should own it. I've bought the first volume of Sandman for more friends than I can count. Just I find out that they love comics and they don't have that, I just buy it for them.
Well, here you go.
But Saga is my pick for our recommendation for a comic trade paperback, because it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's published by Image Comics. It's still being published by Image Comics.
It is.
It's written by Brian K. Vaughan, and it's illustrated beautifully by Fiona Staples.
It's a very, very good series.
Yeah, it's very heavily influenced by Star Wars, but it's also got a lot of I don't know, some almost like a classic sense of drama to it. It's really cool. In a nutshell, it's the story about a husband and wife, Elena and Marco, who are from different warring alien races, and they fall into love and they're fleeing the authorities. And they're all because they just want to raise their little daughter Hazel, and she's born at the beginning of the series, and it's her narration that kind of carries the heart of this series over the course. It's all from her perspective, interestingly enough. It's and that's all I'm going to say, guys. It's really, really great. Right now, there are 7 trade paperback volumes, and you can get them on Amazon.com for $9, $10
right,
a piece. So for $70, you can have every trade paperback volume that's currently out. And I also bring this up because the 8th volume is scheduled to come out January 2nd. So get it for someone else, or ask them to get it for you for Christmas. Amazon will do that 2-day shipping for Prime members, and you can get it before Christmas and get all caught up right before the new year and the new volume comes out. It's amazing. There are a lot of great independent comics out there.
Yes.
And a lot of them have been talked about on this show. Go
Yes.
check out our episodes where we talk about comics.
There's an
show.
entire episode with me and Mr. Naughty List where we talk about not non-superhero comic books.
And they're great suggestions, and they're all and you guys mentioned Saga.
We did. Yep.
And they're all really great, but Saga is one that is just, my wife and I both stumbled upon it, and we've just devoured it, and we love it. So very excited about the new one coming out. But Saga is my recommendation for comic book for this holiday season.
My recommendation, I have to reiterate it. For me, it is the book that brings us all together. If I see this book on your shelf, we just became best friends. And it is called Rising Stars. I've talked about it pretty much every time a comic book conversation, an open-ended comic book conversation comes up. Rising Stars is the series that influenced the 4400. It is the series that influenced Heroes. It is the series that brought a superhero mythos into a realistic world and said, like, here is the science behind it, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
It is
also
fantastic.
Dealing with how real people would react to this.
Exactly. Yes.
It's so good.
Without being like super cliche, not only how people would react to it, but how the superheroes, air quotes, themselves would react to it. They have real problems. Their problems aren't, my parents died in a alley after the movies. Their problems are like depression and like not knowing what to do with stardom.
Mm-hmm.
And like being conflicted about taking the high road, stuff like that. Like it's real problems. J. Michael Straczynski wrote it. He wrote Babylon 5, the TV series. He wrote forever, what seems like, for Amazing Spider-Man, Thor, Wonder Woman. He wrote on both sides of the ball, both sides of the big two ball. He's fantastic. He's a fantastic writer, my favorite writer, because of Rising Stars. If he would have only ever written Rising Stars, he would still be my favorite writer.
Yeah, he's so can't overstate enough how razor sharp his writing is, and how the drama and the characters are just, oh man, they're so good.
Yeah, and here's the interesting thing. Fiona Avery, you said, did the illustrations for Saga, right?
Yeah.
Fiona Avery. Fiona Avery wrote 3 spin-offs for Rising Stars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, penned them. So really interesting. Here's the thing. You don't need to read the 3 spin-off series. They're good, not great. They're better when you've read the first 3, the primary story, but they're not required. The primary story is what you need. However, the series came out in 1999, so it's hard to come across even the trades for the original 3. So what you do is you hop on Amazon and you get the Rising Stars Compendium, which is all 3 of the primary story, the 24 issues, and all 3 of the spinoffs written by Fiona Avery. And it's so good. It is so good. If someone ever comes to me and says, Chris, what is a comic book that you don't think I've read that you need me to, that I need to read for the betterment of myself as a human? I never skip a beat, and I always say Rising Stars. It is perfect. It is the perfect book. And that is my recommendation for comic books, trade paperbacks, and or graphic novels.
Sweet. So yeah, so the next area, the next category we picked was board games, because board games are awesome, and we're kind of we are absolutely in a renaissance golden age of
Absolutely.
board games right now, and there are a lot of great ones out there. And so yeah, Chris, what would be your pick for people to get if they're wanting to check out board games?
So I'm going to take a quick jump backwards.
Sure.
The Rising Stars Compendium, it's kind of pricey. It's
yeah.
$70 on Amazon. But you're getting 24 issues and 3 spin-offs. So you're getting a few hundred pages worth of comics for $70. And and it's the best story you'll read.
Yeah.
About superheroes. Anyways, for games, board games.
Board
games. My choice is probably already really tired in this household, because my wife and I have been playing it a lot recently with family. We went to her family's house for Thanksgiving, and then just this past weekend, we went to my family's house for like Thanksgiving Christmas combo, and we played this game at both. And it's a super fun party game, and it's really easy to pick up. The rules are very basic, and it's an easy one to make house rules for, which I'm a big fan of house rules.
Yes.
But it's called Sheriff of Nottingham. And bonus, it's on sale right now for 45% off on Amazon. So you can get this game for $19.50 when it's normally $35.
That alone right there, just
like,
you don't even have to listen to our reasons for why to get it. Just go get it.
Yeah, it's so fun. Basically, you play as a merchant who is trying to get into Nottingham with your goods, and you have the option to load your merchant bag with legal goods or contraband. And it's a game of bluffing, bribery, and negotiation, where each player takes a turn being the Sheriff of Nottingham, and you have to lie or bribe or be honest to get your market filled the most within Nottingham. That being said, I am not a big fan of expansions for the sake of expansions. I don't like getting expansions just to have more stuff.
No, me neither.
The Sheriff of Nottingham expansion is called the Merry Men expansion. It's actually like this, pretty much the same price. So you can get the whole game for $5 more than just the core game is normally.
Full price. Yeah.
But it adds so many new mechanics to the game, and comes with a 6th merchant. So you can play with the core game, you can only play with 5 people. With the expansion, you can play with up to 6. But it's so fun. I played with my dad and his brother, my uncle Mike, and they don't play board games. Like, they play like Skip-Bo and Phase 10 when my mom makes them. Mm-hmm. But like outside of like the classics like Monopoly and Trouble and stuff like that, like when I was a kid and wanted to play a board game, like other than those board games, it's not their thing. And they were super hesitant about it. And after like the third or fourth round, they were so into it. And Michael Ann's dad was the same way. Like, they were having so much fun with it. So I make it my recommendation, because if you've got a friend, if you got a loved one that likes board games and you don't, this is a great board game for you to get that person so you can play together and enjoy it, because it's not a board game for board gamers. It's a more of a party board game that is also fun and also has a lot of strategy for those people that like board games. So Sheriff of Nottingham, get you some. Kris Too, what's your board game?
Yeah. And that's, I just want to say that's a great suggestion, because there are, like I said, there's so many great board games out there right now in the last 10, 15 years.
Right.
We've gotten so many great board games, and there's now it does. If you're one of those people that says, "Oh, board games aren't for me," and you're probably thinking of Monopoly or something like that, and it's like, "Oh, I don't really care about them. I don't really like them." There is something out there for you. There have been so many different types of games and mechanics, and this one's great. There are a lot of great family style games that are more party style games that are for just
and I'm the party style
bringing people in.
I'm the party style kind of board game player. Like, I like the more complex games, Betrayal at House on the Hill, games like that. Like, I like those games, but my go-tos are the party style games, the games that you have fun with. It's
very little effort on your part with a lot of fun, lot of fun payoff, and that's what's great about them. So I'm totally on board with that. The one I'm going to suggest is a little different in style, but still attached to this. Everyone who, even if you don't play board games, you probably know about Settlers of Catan. You probably have now heard about like games like Ticket to Ride or Carcassonne.
Right.
These are games, and those three and Alhambra make up they make up what are considered the four pillars of classic, or I guess of this new age of board gaming.
Yeah, new wave board games.
This one I'm going to suggest is connected to what I would dare say is the fifth new pillar of board gaming, and that is Pandemic.
Yes.
My wife bought Pandemic for me way back when we first got into board gaming, and it is still one of our absolute favorite games. We love it,
fun.
and I call it the fifth pillar because it was the one that popularized and really perfected this idea of cooperative board gaming, where you're not playing against each other, you're not trying to beat each other for most points or kill the other person's forces. You're all working together to beat the game. And it's a great, and just like family games are a great introduction for people that don't play board games, I found cooperative games are instant sells for people that don't play board games because they're maybe they're averse to it because they're afraid that they won't be able to understand the rules and they'll get beaten up on and it's not going to be fun for them.
Yep.
Cooperative games say eliminate that. They say, no, we're playing together. If you have a question, just ask. We are here to help one another. And Pandemic by Matt Leacock did that really great. But my recommendation, as much as I love Pandemic, my recommendation is actually a version of Pandemic that came out, spin-off, called Pandemic Iberia. And Pandemic Iberia, the setting for it, whereas Pandemic is set in like current modern times today and dealing with diseases breaking out across the world and you're trying to stop the diseases. Pandemic Iberia is set it's set in the late 1800s on the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal. And because it's in the 1800s, some gameplay is a little different. You can't fly to locations. You have to lay railroads and take railroads to different places, things like that. But one thing, I'm going to recommend Pandemic Iberia because it's very similar to Pandemic, but it improves on some of the mechanics a little bit.
Sure.
The game includes, built into the game, optional expansions that you've already paid for when you buy the game. Whereas base Pandemic is excellent. We now have a couple of expansions because they are the expansions that I think are good. But I'm with you. There are people that just buy all the expansions, and not all expansions are made equal, and they're not all good and worth it.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Pandemic and why it's a perfect addition to the holiday gift guide. There are like 25 different versions of Pandemic.
Yeah, there's Pandemic Cthulhu. They just came out with Pandemic Rising Tide, which is dealing with flooding. It's crazy. So Pandemic is a fantastic cooperative game. Iberia is just a little bit more special because the theme, just the different location adds a couple mechanics. The game itself is just beautiful. The artwork on it is gorgeous. And I love that it already has a couple of expansions built into the game that you can choose to just...
That's really nice.
So you can choose to play the base game, or you can choose to, okay, I'm going to take this one expansion mechanic but leave the rest out, or I'm going to play with all of them. So you have those options. You can make a single disease more difficult. You can make two of the diseases more difficult. You make them all more difficult. You can have... There's a lot of different things. And so I really appreciate that they basically gave you a game with expansions already built in into this, all into one game. And you're paying the same price as you would for base Pandemic.
Which is even better.
Yeah. So if you want to play a great cooperative game that's just perfection itself with some extra goodies sprinkled on top that you can save for later after you've played it a few times through already, Pandemic Iberia is my suggestion for holiday gift guide board game. Get it. You'll love it. You'll never want to stop playing it. Oh, and I should also mention, it's going to beat you. You will lose. But honestly, I don't think I've had more fun losing a game than I have in Pandemic. Because I lose and we immediately want to set it up and play again. Yeah. So that's my recommendation for board games.
All right, so let's talk video games.
Vigi games.
We talked about board games, so let's talk about the console gamers. What do you have for the console gamers?
So this is one that I'm sure you guys already know about. We know about this game because we've heard about it probably all year, all to 2017, and that's, for me, it's Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
The Nintendo Switch came out, the new system, and it's just been getting all the love. Unlike the Wii U, which didn't do well
and got none of the love.
The Nintendo Switch has been doing great, and one of the things that they very smartly did, just like they did way back when the Wii came out, they attached a Legend of Zelda title to it, and it definitely helps drive sales. And
it's
guys,
huge.
All I have to say is, open world Legend of Zelda. That's alone was enough to sell me on it. But I mean, the game is beautiful. The gameplay is amazing. I don't own this game, but I've been able to demo it and of course watched more than a reasonable amount of videos online about it.
As did we all.
But Nintendo Switch is kind of on it's on my personal wish list. I'm kind of hoping somebody gets it for me for Christmas.
Fingers crossed.
With Breath of the Wild, because I want to play it so bad. So that's my choice. I love Legend of Zelda games. My wife and I love Nintendo games because we're not huge console gamers like other people are, like Chris, you are.
Yep.
We're not. So when we do get games, we tend to veer towards Nintendo because they're a lot of them are built around group play or family play, because you can play the group Mario games, you can play Mario Kart and things like that, and that's all great fun. But also, some of my favorite titles growing up were the Mario and Legend of Zelda and Metroid games, and they keep on making new ones, and it's so good. And Breath of the Wild is the one that everyone was talking about when it was coming out. It finally came out, and it lived up to expectations. The reviewers loved it.
It really did.
It's not the most expensive suggestion I have on my list for this podcast, but it's up there. It's a $60 game. You can get on Amazon for like $57, but it's
still $60.
Yeah, and that's not even taking into account the fact that if you don't have a Switch, you got to have the system. But from what it looks like, Nintendo's doing really well with Switch, which means it's probably going to be they're going to stick with it for a while and keep on making new games. I really am hoping for a Metroid game, but
fingers crossed.
Yeah, but Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is my choice for video games for the holidays.
So
on a complete other end of the spectrum, Chris, what do you recommend?
I've been talking about Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, for like 2 months on this podcast. Yeah. I finally got it this weekend, and it is part my jam for this episode. But let me tell you, this game is all the hype I wanted it to be. I started playing this game yesterday, which was Monday last week. So a week ago. I started playing this game a week ago, and I played it so much, and it is so much fun. And to give everyone in our listenership an idea of how I personally play campaign-based video games is I play on the easiest level possible, and I will play all the way through the campaign. And then I will play on the next hardest level, and I will play all the way through the campaign. And I will just keep doing that until I have beaten the game on the hardest difficulty setting available. And I will bask in how awesome I am, despite the fact that by that point, I pretty much know where all the bad guys are. But this game is so fun. It rightfully deserves every bit of its like 9.8 IGN rating. It is fantastic. That being said, this game is marked M for mature, and it earns that rating very, very justly.
It's a Wolfenstein game. It's a sequel to Wolfenstein.
Yeah, it is
not surprising.
Yeah, you are an American. You're BJ Blazkowicz from Texas, and you are the inglorious bastard of the Nazi regime. Like, you are killing. Your nickname is Terror Billy. You are killing everyone. There's a scene where you watch someone get decapitated. I mean, there's a lot of profanity. It's a very bloody, very fun video game. And that being said, I'm still working my way through the first campaign, like my first go around in campaign. It is excellent so far. We talked about it on the show a few weeks ago. They got rid of the multiplayer option entirely to make sure that the campaign mode was as excellent as possible, and they crushed it. And I swear to you, if you have someone in your life that has a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One or one of the big hitting consoles, I think those are the two. Also PC. It's a PC game as well. Get this game for them on Amazon right now. It is $39.99. It is $20 off MSRP on Amazon at this moment.
And if you buy it now, which I guess is Monday, you can have it Wednesday.
Yeah, you get it. You get it before Christmas. You get it with enough time that if you're dedicated, you can beat it before Christmas. Or you can just hang it over somebody's head until Christmas. If you're gifting it for them, which is kind of the point of this episode.
Yeah.
But it's excellent. It's so good. So good. Very different from Breath of the Wild, but excellent. Excellent nonetheless. So Wolfenstein 2 is my video game of choice.
Sweet. So the next one, we actually, before this episode started, we got a little hung up because initially this section was titled Nerd Accessory, and then I realized that was confusing because accessory sounds like something, like it's just something you wear, like a piece of
nerd
jewelry
earrings.
Nerd earrings, or a watch or whatever, which we could definitely say stuff about that. I mean, you have your steampunk watch.
And I have an R2-D2 watch.
Yeah, and there's
I wore at my wedding. So
there's a pretty cool dungeon. There's a pretty cool Dungeon Master watch that I want. But we changed it to nerd decor, and this is really, we're just talking about like nerd stuff to hang about or put in your home just to up your nerd game just a little bit more. And so, Chris, what's your suggestion for nerd decor?
Just to clarify, adding either of our selections to the gift guide are going to up your nerd game more than just a little, because these are both pretty nerdy. But
yeah,
my pick is ThinkGeek's. It's a ThinkGeek exclusive. So if you don't know what ThinkGeek.com is,
where have you been?
Go. Stop listening to the podcast and immerse yourself in ThinkGeek.com. But it's a ThinkGeek exclusive. It is the Star Wars A New Hope pewter lamp, and it is the coolest.
It is really cool. I had not seen this before he posted it. I was like,
So it is the iconic poster from A New Hope. I mean, it's got Luke, Leia, C-3PO, and R2-D2 on the base. It's in pewter. Luke is holding a lightsaber up, and the lightsaber itself is actually blue. And it's just a really sharp-looking lamp. I mean, it's pewter, so it's that metal.
Just that silvery metal finish.
Yeah, silvery metal finish. It's got a gray lampshade, which you could totally change out if you want, and put like a sweet Millennium Falcon lampshade on it or something like that, if you can find it. And if you can, please tell me where you did.
So we can get it.
Right. But the only pop of color is the lightsaber that Luke's holding. So it's really neat, but it's also really minimalistic, and it would not take too much away from the room.
Right.
Like, it's a good addition without being really intense. Like, it's not like a fat head on your wall of Luke with a lightsaber. Like, it's really classy. The only kicker, it's a lamp, and it costs $80. So it's certainly on the expensive side for a desk lamp.
But you're also getting a pewter desk lamp, not, it's not molded plastic.
Right, exactly. It's almost 4 pounds. It's 18 inches tall. It's a desk lamp. It's a little bit larger than your standard desk lamp, and it's pewter. I think it's fantastic. I love it, and I want it, but I'm not gonna get it because Christmas already happened for me, and I found this after that.
But there's always birthdays.
But there are always birthdays in June. I have the perfect 6-month waiting period. My birthday is June 26th. So the morning after Christmas, my birthday is 6 months away from that.
Oh, nice.
So it's the perfect spread, if you will.
See, for me, my birthday is mid-October, so for me, pretty much my birthday is the start of the holiday season for me.
So if you find something in January that you really want, like, you pretty much just got to get it yourself.
Pretty much, yeah. So, but it's also kind of fun because my whole childhood, my birthday was in October, and then it was like birthday, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and like it was just 3 solid months of just fun. So
that's awesome.
I love this time of year.
Well, that's my nerd decor, the Star Wars New Hope pewter lamp. What do you got?
Yeah.
What do you got, Kris Too?
Well, sure, Chris. You could go the tasteful route. You could go the
You could be classy about it.
You could be classy. Or you could just embrace your nerddom with pride on your wall. And I'm not talking about getting a fat head, you guys. I'm talking about putting a sword on your wall. And I'm putting this on my list because it's something
with a decorative mount. A sword with a decorative mount.
I'm putting this on my list because I've had one of these on my wish list for a little while now. And nobody will buy it for me, so I guess I gotta buy it for myself.
Fine.
I'm talking about Valyrian Steel. ValyrianSteel.com is they have the exclusive rights for prop replication for Game of Thrones weaponry,
which is
nobody
dope.
else gets to make replications of the replicas. Thank you, man. Words are hard sometimes. No one else gets to make replicas of the actual props from the show. They have the exclusive right to that, and they make beautiful work. Just going on their store, they make replicas of all the swords, but also like
they got a lot of stuff.
The Hound's helmet and the Stark shield,
body
armor, and a lot of these swords. The swords all come with wall mounts. These really beautiful wooden wall mounts that you hang the sword on. But some of them, they also make scabbards. The cheapest sword, from what I can tell, is Arya's needle, which is $190. So
and is a small sword.
Yeah, it's not cheap, you guys. It's it's the small, thin rapier style sword, and it's $190. But it's beautifully made. They replicate everything about it. The way the hilt looks
except for the sharpness
in the series. Oh yeah, they
are replicas.
They make it very clear that these are not meant to be used as weapons. They are replicas for display and for looking cool. But that's the cheapest end. On the most expensive end, you can buy like Jon Snow's sword actually no, that's not the most expensive. The most expensive one is like the Oathkeeper sword and Damascus edition. They make Damascus. They do it in Damascus steel, which is like if you don't know about steel making, sword making, it's a really, really intensive way to make swords, and it's a lot beautiful patterns in the blade, but it takes a lot longer, and so it's more expensive, and that'll run you $700. But they are pretty intense and pretty amazing. So if you love Game of Thrones and you just really want to, if you have a character your favorite characters, and you want to show off your favorite character sword, you can get, and some of them are already out of stock. Sometimes they go out of stock and then they come back in, but you can get Jon Snow's long claw sword. You can get Arya's needle, which is the one I want. You can get Widow's Wail or Jaime Lannister's sword. You can get all these really cool things. They're expensive, but they're gonna look awesome on your wall. So,
if you're into that sort of thing.
If you're into that. Also, I did just find out that the same company that does Valyrian Steel, they also just got the exclusive rights to Patrick Rothfuss's Kingkiller Chronicles. I think in anticipation of the TV series that's going to be made.
Right, and they are also they're the sister company of Hobbit Swords.
Yeah. So if Game of Thrones isn't your bag, there are other fandoms out there that you can get.
Legolas's short bow.
Oh yes, swords. Yeah. I have Sting on my wall.
Yeah,
hanging in my game room, and I love it. So that is by far the most expensive suggestion that I have for this. But it's, if you really just want to go all out with some style,
pizzazz.
Yeah. And finally,
the last thing in our gift guide, the wild card. So just
miscellaneous,
anything, whatever you feel needs to be added to the list. Kris, what else needs to be there?
This is one that I'm suggesting because we talked about it. We talked about this last episode. You and I have mentioned this company multiple times on this show, and it's Audible, guys.
Again, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. We love Audible. We listen to a ton of audiobooks. I finished the Dark Tower series recently on Audible, and it was great. And I've got a huge list of other books that I'm slowly working my way through. Audible's fantastic. If you spend any time on the road, even if you're only on the road for like 20 minutes going to and from work, you can just be whittling away at a book.
That's 40 minutes a day.
That's 40 minutes a day that you're on the road, and I'm sure you probably have some downtime at work, or if you go for a run. I don't know what you do, but you can get an Audible subscription for a family member. You can just do 1 month, you can do 3 months, you can do whatever you want, and all you do is you just pay for the Audible subscription, and when you're paying for it, you check this is a gift, and it'll provide. And you can print out the code that they can put in, so then they can put in, and it just automatically credits them however many books you paid for, or however many months you paid for, and you can get them that. We've gotten the Audible subscription for my sister-in-laws, and we've gotten them for some other family members, and we're giving some to family members for Christmas this year because we know they love books, and we're going to get them for them. And I know they don't listen to this podcast.
Gift.
It is so easy, guys.
It is the gift card of nerd gifts.
Yes, and it's great because, and you can also when you give it, you can also include suggestions of books to them. If you say, I really love this book and I suggest this, they can still get whatever they want. But
right,
Audible has a huge selection of books out there for every single type of person anything you want: fiction, nonfiction, fantasy, sci-fi, drama, whatever you want. And the performances are amazing. They get top-notch performers, and you'll listen to it, you'll find your favorite performers and then just want to get books that they do. So Audible,
regardless of whether or not you've heard of the book or
Absolutely.
It was recommended.
Absolutely. One of the first books we got on Audible, we got because Jim Dale was the
he is reader. Fantastic.
And it was well worth it. So that's my suggestion. Get an Audible subscription, guys, and you can do it any range you want. If you only just want to get them a 1 month, what is it? God, it's like
$14.99, I think.
$14.99. Yeah. I was gonna say $12, and I felt like that was wrong. Yeah, $15. You can get them just 1 month just to give them a taste, and then if they want to continue, they can. And so, yeah, they will appreciate it, and it's so easy. So,
oh yeah,
that's my choice for a miscellaneous gift.
My choice. There's a company called Inked Gaming. If you haven't heard of Inked Gaming and you like tabletop gaming, go check them out. They do a bunch of really cool stuff. But what
I'm a little pissed that you put this on here because I went and looked this up, and
now you want one.
It's in my wish list. Go
yeah,
no, it's in my shopping cart now. So
yeah, you're welcome. It is a padded carrying case for your tabletop games. And it is super cool. It's called the Gaming Crate from Inked Gaming. Inked Gaming. I'm kind of sick, so I don't have my nasals. But it is a tote bag essentially. But it's really excellent. It's got 3 exterior pockets. 1 for your games, and then 2 to hold beverages like water bottles or whatever. Mountain Dew Code Red. It has 2 handles to carry it with, or it has a shoulder strap. The bottom of the bag has rubber on it. It has an interior pocket that has like a zipper so you can put dice, miniatures, other stuff like that. It also has like a laptop sleeve, or like maybe your D&D campaign book can go in there, and a carabiner inside as well for holding your keys, which is great, or your bag of holding, whatever you choose to put there. But it's super cool. The neatest thing about this crate is it's customizable. You can upload your own artwork. I just had artwork done. I love Inked Gaming. For Christmas, I just got a couple extra large mouse pads for the guys on my team at work. And that was my gift to them. And I always joke that we're the Rogue Squadron. So I got red leader, blue leader, gold leader, and rogue leader on the mouse pads with like the Rogue Squadron helmets. Nice. They're super cool. But I just got those done through here. So, but that's like copyrighted imagery. Doesn't matter. They'll still do it. So you can put just about anything. They do have things that you can't put on there, but they have just about anything you want. You can get on here. You can download a template and you can design your own artwork if you're into that sort of thing. It is fantastic. It is such a cool concept and such an easy thing, and the kind of thing that you can go your whole life not knowing you needed
until I go on the website
until you have it. I mean, like, I don't travel with a lot of board games. Like, we don't usually, when we have game nights, because I just built an awesome gaming table for my wife, we have them here. So we don't travel a lot, but like just looking at this thing, I want it. That being said, again, a little pricey, $69.99, but it's durable. It's gonna last.
It'll protect your games. That's the really thing that's important.
Exactly.
We do travel a lot with our games, and we've come up with different solutions. And we've recently got a travel system, a different gaming travel system. But yeah, the fact that for now, but this, but the fact that this crate is like, it's very clearly made with the board gamer in mind, because they know you want to take care of your games and your boxes, and you don't want to destroy them, and you want to be able to show up at your location with everything still intact.
Yeah, and I'll say this.
Like crazy.
I'll say this: if you're intrigued by the gaming crate and you get to the site and you're just like, man, $69.99 is just too much for that, poke around on their site. They have play mats. They have dice bags. They have card sleeves. They have mouse pads. They have like trading card binders. They have all sorts of stuff that you can get, and you can customize everything. Mm-hmm. It's such a cool site. inkedgaming.com. Check it out. That is my miscellaneous / wildcard choice.
Sweet.
And there you go.
Those are just some of our things to make you a little bit more a little bit poorer, but a lot happier.
But a lot cooler.
Yeah.
As a gift giver. So, recap, super quick. Comic books, Saga, Rising Stars, board games, Pandemic Iberia, Sheriff of Nottingham. Video game, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Wolfenstein 2. Nerd decor, Valyrian Steel, and the Star Wars A New Hope pewter lamp. And the wild card, Audible subscription, or Inked Gaming's Gaming Crate. Check them out. Find them on the interwebs. That's what you need to get your people. Now, let's wrap up Topic Thunder.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about jams real quick.
What's your jam?
All right, Chris, what's your jam?
Yeah. Well, on Thursday, you mentioned a podcast, and so I'll mention a podcast now. The Adventure Zone is a podcast that I've really, really just fallen in love with, man. This is a great, great podcast. It's by Justin Travis and Griffin McElroy from they have a podcast called My Brother and Me.
Right.
And in this podcast, Griffin is the D&D veteran, and then his brother Travis has played quite a few games. His other brother Justin has only played like one D&D game, and they also get their dad involved, Clint,
nice,
who has never played D&D. And Griffin is the dungeon master, and it's just a podcast of them on a D&D campaign. It's got something like 70 episodes, and
man, that's awesome.
I'm almost at the end of it. Yeah, and each episode is around an hour long. So
it's kind of like Harmon Quest.
Yeah, kind of. Yes.
Nice.
And it's easily digestible, but oh man, the story is fantastic. Like, it starts out really silly, especially because two of the three guys have virtually no experience with D&D.
Right.
And the other two are like really trying to take it seriously but still have fun with it. But they're all really funny. Every episode I'm laughing. And then about there's like the main big arc, and then there's several little arcs. About 2 little arcs in, they start incorporating music into the story, and you start getting to know these characters even more. And like, there'll be times I'm laughing, and then suddenly I'm listening to this podcast while driving to work, and I'm like crying because something sad happens or something tragic comes about, and it just moves you so great. And so it's just some of the best storytelling. My friend Eric Van Tassel got me into it, and he told me, we had just met, and he said, "You'll like this." I was like, "All right, I'll check it out."
Whatever you say.
Wrong. He was not wrong. It has been one of the best new podcasts I've been listening to, and I got sidetracked because I had to finish the Dark Tower Audible series.
Right.
But I'm back, and I'm nearly done with it, and it is amazing. And then of course you go out, and there's like a ton of fan art out there and other things that other people have created, and they've already finished. They finished the current full arc. It is done, so you can go listen to the whole thing again, like 70 episodes. But they've already started the next arc on the podcast. So Adventure Zone is my first big jam. It's fantastic. It's great. You get to hear the adventures of Magnus, Merle, and Taco. Their wizard half elf is called Taco, and he's just the best.
That's the best. That's so good.
My other jam that I'm mentioning, just because we've talked about board games on here, and hey, Adventure Zone, D&D, okay, more board games. My other jam is the Tiny Epic board game series.
Yes.
From Gamelin Games. The first one I got was Tiny Epic Kingdoms, and it's fun. It's their first one, but it's not perfect. It's fine. But then Tiny Epic Galaxies, Tiny Epic Quest, Tiny Epic Galaxies, Tiny Epic Western, and then they just came out with Tiny Epic Quest. These 3 games especially are amazing. And for our listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, these Tiny Epic games, they're like $25 a piece. They come in a box that's like 8 inches
the size of
by
your hand.
Yeah, 8 inches by 6 inches. Little games, but they pack. But then when you open them up, and all this stuff comes out, and they pack so much game and so many game mechanics.
Tiny Epic games.
Yeah, Tiny Epic Galaxies, I think, is by far my favorite, and they have an expansion to it called Beyond the Black that takes the game and blows it out like *2. But it's amazing. Tiny Epic Western, you're in a Western, and it's super fun, and you get to duel with bullet-shaped dice. And then Tiny Epic Quest, it's basically the non-copyright infringing Legend of Zelda in a Tiny Epic game, and it's great, guys. So if you're interested in board games but you're hesitant about diving into some other games that, some board games the ones we mentioned on here aren't that bad. Like Sheriff of Nottingham is $20 right now. Pandemic Iberia is like $25.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of games out there that are like $50, $60. These games are $25 a piece, even less when they're on sale. And they pack a ton of fun games. They're easy to learn. They're easy to carry around because they're so small. So you can share them with friends, take them on holiday. That's my jam. I'm loving. We just got the Tiny Epic Quest, and it's amazing. So those are my jams. And Chris, what's your jam?
I have 3 jams, but one of them I've already talked about, so we're gonna kind of scooch past that one. But it's Wolfenstein 2.
Wolfenstein 2.
Play it. It's so fun. All right, 2 other jams. Jam number 2,
first.
Samurai Spider-Man. My brother, the Outlaw Steve Jr. Okay, so backstory. The Laney family just celebrated Christmas last weekend. Due to schedules and crazy things, we had Christmas on the weekend of December 1st. So I've already had my Christmas. Like as far as like all the gift exchange and all that kind of stuff goes, I've already had Christmas with my family. So I got Wolfenstein 2 for Christmas. Came home, had the day off work, played it. The Outlaw Steve Jr. is my brother, if you have never picked that up. And he got me this action figure, this collectible called Samurai Spider-Man. And I want you fine people of the internet to Google it because it is awesome. It's this figurine.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, they made a samurai revisiting of Spider-Man. And it's really cool. He's got like samurai armor. He's got these 2 like grappling hooks that are attached to chains. So that's kind of like the revisiting the spider web kind of thing. It's so cool. It looks so good. The details are on point. Unfortunately, it's still in Alabama, being shipped back because we just couldn't bring it all with us. But that being said, there are other ones. There are other ones, guys. There's an Iron Man that's super cool. There's a Stormtrooper out there. I know there are a few other ones. I can't remember. Steven told them to me while we were talking, or like right after I opened it, because I was mind blown by how cool this thing was. But it is such a cool toy, or cool collectible, excuse me. And then the last thing, jam number 3, I have an Apple Watch now, and I love it. It's a super, super neat thing. I had a Pebble, which was the first smartwatch, and it had e-ink, and it was really neat, but it was super limited on what you could actually do with it. Outside of a few little functions, it was more or less just a notification system for your wrist. With the Apple Watch, you can do so much more. I can like text from it. I can take a phone call on my wrist and not have to like worry about where's my headset, because I can't hold my phone right now or whatever. which is super neat, and it also makes me feel like a secret agent. um, it's really neat. I mean, obviously, it tracks your activity, and it's a great tool for like to assist with the exercise and the basic health. But all in all, it's really awesome. I'm really excited about it. I really love it, and that's pretty much it. I like that I have an Apple Watch. It's neat, and that's my jams.
Cool.
And that is it for the show. Sorry, I had to mute my microphone so I could snot up everything that's been building up in my nose, which I'm sure all of our listeners wanted to know about.
Yeah.
But anyways, thanks for tuning into the show. Check us out online, betweenthecons.com. You can sponsor the show. You can stream. You can check us out on social media. You can download E.208's music, who makes all the sweet dubstep that we have on the show, by going to betweenthecons.com/bandcamp. That'll take you to his site. Everything over there is pretty cheap. So check it out. Go buy you some music. And finally, make sure you subscribe. We release a new episode every Monday and every Thursday, so you're getting a double dose of nerdy deliciousness every week, and it's super worth it.
Cook it up special just for you.
Just for you. So subscribe to the show. Tune in on Thursday. We're going to be back. We're going to be talking about the latest and greatest nerdy news, hitting the headlines for you. So you don't want to miss it. Subscribe. Okay, bye now.
Bye.
That's neat. If you like Game of Thrones.